Nimona has a weird history behind it. It once started as a project underneath Blue Sky, but then it got canned by Disney when Blue Sky was hitting its foreclosure. And then all of a sudden, Netflix comes in and swoops it up. Now, the question remains, was it really worth the effort for Netflix to save this movie? Honestly, yes it was. Nimona centers around the tutorial character Nimona and also a renegade known as Ballister. The story is your typical, this person must prove their innocence because they're being wronged for a crime they did not commit type of thing. It's a little cliche, but for Nimona, I think it really works. Nimona and Ballister are basically two outcasts in their society, wrong for different reasons, but come together for a common goal, and along the way really begin to understand each other. This story started out as just Ballister trying to prove his innocence, but it ended with Ballister trying to understand who or what Nimona really is, and I really like that evolution.
You want to show him?
I'd love to.
Let's break stuff.
Meta.
The animation is also quite astounding. On a surface level, it looks a little simplistic, but if you look closely, you can see these nuances of color and emotion just splashed out in every scene. The visual nuances in this movie are also quite a wonder. There's one particular thing I noticed when it comes to the characters' eyes. There are times where they tend to change shape a little bit depending on the scene or their emotions, and I think that's a nice nod. Of course, we can't talk about the animation and leave out the characters who are comprised of all that. Honestly, this movie is comprised of a very rich cast of characters. Ballister and Nimona are both standouts. On the outside, we see Nimona as this metal rock punk head, but on the inside, she's really just a scared little girl who just wishes for a friend, someone who wants to see her not as a monster, but as a person. Or, in our case, not a people, but still someone to like. Ballister was also someone I was looking out for. He was just someone who wanted to make his own mark in the world, regardless of where he came from, and he got dealt a bad hand and still tried to fight to do what's right. The characters that made up parts of the Institute were also pretty interesting. Ambrosius was someone who was raised to do the right thing and wanted to do the right thing, but over the course of the movie, he just didn't know what was right and wrong anymore. But another character I found very interesting was the director. While many would see her as somewhat of a cliche, I like the fact she's a bit more layered than that. At the end of the day, she was really just a victim of the time she lived in, brainwashed to believe that monsters are evil, we're the good people, and she had no reason to think otherwise because Although I have to confess I did think Todd was a lousy character. Honestly, you could take him out and the movie was exactly the same. That's how little he contributed. His personality was also not very fun to watch.
You did that on purpose.
You catch on quick, boss.
The voice cast was spectacular. Chloe Grace Moretz really brought her A-game as Nimona, and Riz Ahmed was great as Ballister. And I really like Frances Conway as the director. She really made her sound very menacing. I'd also like to give a good nod to the soundtrack, which was excellent. That mixture of pop, rock, on the more action-oriented scenes, and also that mixture of sadder, classical music when things got a bit more intense and emotional, really helped Nimona stand out as a wonderful movie.
Excuse me.
Overall, Nimona is a wonderful film full of a great cast of characters, for the most part, wonderful soundtrack, great voice acting, and a very interesting story that'll help really feel like where you belong in society. I'm glad Netflix saved this movie, and I really think you should see this movie.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, try to give a like or leave a comment. If you didn't like what you saw, try to leave me some feedback to see in ways I can improve. Thank you. Have a nice day.